Peace. This is Sifu William Blackwell of Virginia Beach, Wing Chun. Today's video is all about feeling. We're putting together a lot of videos that got techniques in it, but I felt it's necessary for us to put together a video that describes feeling, because without feeling, there's no Wing Chun, there's no Kung Fu. There's really no anything without feeling. You can't have a relationship without feeling. You can't play sports without feeling. And I'm explaining it in a second, right? Grandmaster Lo Man Cam used that all the time. He says, without no feeling, there's no Wing Chun. Lo Man Cam talks about how if you don't know how to tie your techniques together and transition them smoothly, then your Wing Chun is lacking. So I hope that I can present a little bit of an idea of how to tie things together, of how to develop feeling, and then another piece of, or construct of feeling is relaxation and tension. You can't have one without the other, and they need to work together. So when someone's telling you to relax, what does that mean? And what are you relaxing, and what is tense? We're gonna go over some of those things to help you understand how it all balls together, because it's very important to develop feeling. And what I meant by that whole piece of you can't have anything without feeling is, let's say we want to play basketball and you have to develop basic skills. You got to learn how to dribble, you stand still and dribble. You got to learn how to run down the court and dribble. Then you got to learn how to do a layup. You got to do a layup with the left hand, and you learn different skills with that. And with anything that you're dealing with another person, there's always some type of a strategy. One of the strategies, or one of the type of trick moves, so to speak, is crossover. So crossover can be done only a certain way, and the more like close you're getting it done, that better and best way. That's when people's ankles get broke, because if you're at a certain distance, if you're using a certain amount of momentum, if you move at a certain angle and then quickly switch, using all those basic skills in what seems to be a fancy way, but it's just a bunch of basic things applied with good strategy. That's what I mean by feeling. That's feeling, to be able to cross somebody up. So how do we take that same concept and apply it in Wing Chun? That's what we're going to explore today. Feeling. How is it used in the martial aspect in Kung Fu? One of the first partner drills that we use to develop feeling is one-hand chi sao. We're also going to use one-hand chi sao to describe relaxation and tension. To describe where you want to be tensed at in order to hold your position is also where you need to be relaxed at in order to be able to detect what the other person is doing. Relaxation. What does that mean, and how do we use it? Part of the relaxation and the feeling you learn from one-hand chi sao. That's one of the first sets of chi sao that we do in the pre-chi sao. So with one hand, I learn how, from the forearm, I do my tan sao. From the forearm, he does his fuk sao. The fuk sao pushes forward and the elbow is in. The tan sao pushes forward straight to the center and the elbow is in. When we do our chi sao, my tan sao points directly to him in the center, and I got distance right here between my arm. His fuk sao, he needs to have his elbow in, so it keeps me from being able to get in on him. If his elbow is out, let's use this hand right here. If his elbow is out, then I got an open space to get to him. But his elbow is in, so now I can't get to him easily. He's gonna feel it, me rubbing against his arm. When it comes to relaxation, when you hold your fuk sao, when I say relax, I don't mean to go limp completely. I mean that certain things need to be relaxed, certain things need to be tense. The wrist area needs to be tense. The elbow needs to be a little bit tense, pushing in and pushing forward. Your shoulders more relaxed. You relax your shoulders, because if he tense his shoulders up, tense your shoulder up, then you lose some strength down here, because his elbow can't do what it needs to do. So you got to relax in the right places, hold the tension in the right places, and with that, you can be more effective and how you execute your techniques. So for me, the same thing, my shoulder has to be relaxed. My elbow has a little tension in it moving forward, and we feel just our skin tug a little bit on the side. So the idea of one-hand Chi gives us the concept of how to open the space and how to close the space. Like I said before, if I'm trying to hit him, his elbow is in so I can't get in. So the way to do that is to open him up. If he doesn't allow me to do that, if he's too tense, if he's holding on to me, trying to fight me, when he tries to fight me and I try to open him up, I use that against him. I use his own momentum to strike back at him. And because he don't want that to happen, when I move his hand, he just goes with it. He just goes with it. His elbow still stays in a little bit. His wrist still stays curved. And he still is feeling what I'm doing. Because if I pull him back and I lose contact with him, or he loses contact with me, I'm open again. So he has to stay relaxed enough and stay in contact with me so that he can defend himself. And again, this is a drill, and it's not necessarily a fighting technique. So what happens next? I open him up. If he doesn't do anything, it's easy for me to strike. But he wants to cover himself. So when I turn my hand to palm strike him, he's going to pull with his elbow to take my hand off the center. He defends himself, and see how he pulls me off balance a little bit? When I'm off balance, that's the perfect time for him to strike. But when he strikes, he can't lose contact again, because if he loses contact, then I'm already inside. So he can't lose contact. From here, he has to stick to my arm. When he sticks to my arm, punch, see, I can't get in now. That's part of the feeling. You got to develop that feeling in order to stay in contact with me, to know what I'm doing, to control me. But for me, I don't want him to cover my arm up, because then he has the advantage. I want to make it back even for me. So when he punches, I go to my bang sao. My bang sao redirects his punch a little bit over to the outside. One-hand Chi Sao gives you the understanding of how to develop your feeling. That whatever I'm trying to do, he's sensitive of it. Whenever he's trying to do, I'm sensitive of it. And we maintain contact so that we can feel what each other are doing. And through doing this enough, you can just go through the Chi Sao, one-hand Chi Sao, whether you go fast or you go slow. Still maintain your feeling, maintain your contact. My shoulder doesn't get tense up, because my shoulder gets tense. Number one, I'm gonna get tired, and I'm gonna get worn out a lot, and I can't stay in the practice. I can't stay in the fight eventually when we go to that. So I gotta maintain my proper relaxation. I gotta maintain my proper my bone structure, and also I gotta maintain my feeling. And this leads us to developing certain type of strategies when we're dealing with our Chi Sao. And Chi Sao is the heart of Wing Chun, because Wing Chun tells us that without any feeling, there's no Kung Fu. So I can learn a whole lot of techniques, but if I can't use them in a realistic sense, then it is worthless to me. So I gotta develop proper feeling. I gotta understand how to relax, because my relaxation is gonna allow me to be more in tune to him. So I can feel what he's doing. So I can see if he's pushing to the side too much. I can feel if he's pushing back too much. Then maybe I need to take a step back. Or not in the actual Chi Sao drill that we're doing, but I mean in actuality. I understand what I need to do based on listening to what he's telling me that he's trying to do. And through developing that, it enhances my Chi Sao and makes me a better Wing Chun practitioner. Now that we have a better understanding of your structure, as well as how to move and how to be relaxed, and how to hold tension in your wrists and relax your shoulders, things like that, now we move into a little bit more advanced. We move into some strategy. How will we develop strategy inside of regular Chi Sao, so we can take that feeling and use it against the opponent? So now that you have a basic understanding of one-hand Chi Sao, Let's put both hands together and let's develop a little bit of strategy. How can I set him up in order to get a reaction out of him and use that feeling I get from him against him? So as we roll our arms, I'm going to try to move his hand away from him and then strike back at him. I still got control of his bottom hand because I don't know what he's going to do. And I'm pushing this hand against him to make him push back. Most people are going to fight back. They're not just going to let it go. That's just natural reaction. So when he fights back, I'm going to use that as a distraction. I'm going to let this hand slip away, and I'm going to catch this arm right here, and then I can hit him. If he's still fighting back, I can take this hand right here, and I got one hand controlling the two hands, and I can attack him. All right? And that comes in to how you want to set the person up. Again, you got to have a feeling for what you can do and what you cannot do. If he doesn't allow me to do that, then I won't try to. I may do something completely different. I could just grab his hand and give him a different feeling and then go in this way. And then because he saw that I was open, yes, let's roll back. You good? Because he saw that he was open up here, his reaction tells him to cover. Because both of his hands are low and he knows that he's open up here. So he has to bring his tonsil up high. When I do that, go ahead, bring it up, to cover. And again, I can do a similar technique where I can jam him if he's pushing. Or I can just take his hand away this way. What I'm trying to get at is that there are the concept that it's a technique I want to do, but I want to find what's best for that situation. So it takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of training with different partners to be able to get different feelings so that you can see what to do and what not to do. There are definitely wrong answers, but the only wrong answer is when you don't do anything at all. Let's say I do something to attack him, and no, he got a good feeling. So I do something to attack him and he doesn't react. That's when he made a mistake. But if he continues to go, even if he does something that's not the best reaction, it's still a good reaction because he stayed in the fight and he moved. He used his feeling to understand that I'm high, so let me do something to get around him. And then he has to continue to fight from there and continue to move. So when you're Chisao, this is where you develop the feeling of being able to understand how to move, where your openings are, where your coverings are, where my position is at. Because if, come right here. As an example, if my elbow is too far inside of him, on this side right here, then I'm making myself vulnerable. Or if I detect it before he does, I can use it as an advantage. I can come inside of his hand because I got more room to get inside of him. But contrarily, he can go underneath my elbow and push me on the outside because I'm not covering my space well. So he can just go around my arm, go ahead, and take that space away from me. So I got to have a good feeling of how my structure is. Now that we described basic feeling, relaxation, we talked about a little bit about strategy. Now let's talk about how to continue to flow. Because it's important that once you begin, how do you continue? Not just how do you continue, but how do you continue in a safe manner? How do you take this relaxation? How do you take this feeling and apply it? Last week, Sifu Edwin used the spring arm. We're going to use that same basic concept but with a partner. Learning how to continue moving, transitioning in, out, back, forth, and around a person while maintaining contact, maintaining control. So this is a drill that we use in order to help us enhance our feeling, to help us with transitions, as well as to get a good number of other techniques that we can use and get ideas of how we can engage with an opponent. I'm going to leave my arm out for him as a tool to learn how to transition inside, the outside, front, back, use his footwork, and use everything that he knows in order to continue to do his Wing Chun. He's going to continue to practice even if I'm not doing something. And the minute that I respond back to him, he immediately reacts to it and adapts to the situation. So from here, he has to use his triangle steps to move in and out. And when I throw another punch, he covers and reacts to it immediately. Also, if he's too far on the outside, how do he move back in? How do you learn how to transition from inside to outside? Keep going. While being safe. You notice that he's not going in, he's stepping back and moving around. All right, relax. And lastly, let's take the ideas that we've developed so far. So we learned how to develop our feeling a little bit. We've seen how to relax and how to be tense in certain areas, how to go through that. We've developed a little bit of a strategies, or at least I gave you a concept or idea of how to use the strategies, how to set people up. And then how do we flow? Let's take all of those pieces and aspects and ideas and concepts, and let's apply them to someone that just throws a random punch at you any kind of way. How do you respond to that and continue to fight until that threat is, for the most part, neutralized? I'm going to have Alan throw random punches, and I'm going to use my feeling to deal with them. Let's see how it goes. With this video, I hope you understand a little bit more of what we mean when we say feeling, and Chi Sao is the heart of Wing Chun. Also, for students, when I say relax, what does that mean? Because there's nothing arbitrary about it. It's very specific and it's very pointed. It's important that we continue to train, that we continue to develop our skills so that we can actually use them. And in order to actually use them, we need the feeling. We need to be able to detect what's going on around us and react accordingly. So find drills and find different techniques you can use to learn how to do transitions, to learn how to receive what the other person's doing, react to it accordingly, and take advantage of the situation with the proper strategy, with the proper minimalistic approach. There's no need to go force on force. There's always an easy way to do it. And you develop that through learning your feeling, developing it out. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, you can hit us up on www.vbwingchun.com. Please leave any comments below, subscribe, and thank you for your time. Hope you enjoyed it. And as always, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Peace.